Nigeria all rejected it. But then, since his 8 years was up, there was nothing they can do. They wanted a situation whereby he will hand over power to someone that will continue the Fulani Islamization agenda program. One, the calculation mistake that they did was, okay, let them hand over power to a Yoruba man who will be a Muslim, and they will bring a VP to actually be a Muslim ticket. That desire to hand over power was not out of sincerity, but it was out of mischief. When they told that the grandpa in the villa now, because he was not looking mentally okay and he was not looking strong, they knew very well that Osibanjo would have become a better president by development and economic antics of this country. But no, because they have interior motives, they decided to bring grandpa, who they thought in their mind that would not last. And they brought Shettima, who was actually a Boko Haramist.
Hello and what's up, guys? In this video, a Hausa man has finally opened up, and what he revealed will leave you in shock. He exposed the deep secret of the Fulani elders, Buhari and Shettima, and boldly declared that their Islamization and Fulanization agenda has already failed and will keep failing. He broke it down clearly how Nigerians rejected every move under Buhari's rule, Ruga, cattle colonies, the so-called livestock plan, and even the Wuru census. For 8 years, they tried everything and failed, but it gets worse. According to him, they plan to hand over power, not sincerely, but with a hidden agenda. They picked Tinubu, a fragile grandpa, thinking he won't last. The real plan? For Shettima, a man linked to Boko Haram, to quietly take over if Tinubu collapses. But the twist, Tinubu is still standing strong, and their plans are falling apart. Now, frustration is rocking the Fulani camp. The so-called masters of calculation have made a massive mistake, and it's backfiring fast. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look, guys, and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
I titled this video Calculated Mistakes and the Frustration of Fulani Oligarchy. After the 8 years of Buhari reign of terror and terrorism in Nigeria, all his agenda could not succeed. From Ruga, Nigeria resisted Ruga, cattle colony, Nigeria rejected cattle colony, and then livestock transformation program, Nigeria rejected it. The last attempt was actually the Wuru census he wanted to do. Nigeria all rejected it. But then, since his 8 years was up, there was nothing they can do. They wanted a situation whereby he will hand over power to someone that will continue the Fulani Islamization agenda program. One, the calculation mistake that they did was, okay, let them hand over power to a Yoruba man who will be a Muslim, and they will bring a VP to actually be a Muslim ticket. That desire to hand over power was not out of sincerity, but it was out of mischief. When they told that the grandpa in the villa now, because he was not looking mentally okay and he was not looking strong, they knew very well that Osibanjo would have become a better president by development and economic antics of this country. But no, because they have interior motives, they decided to bring grandpa, who they thought in their mind that would not last. And they brought Shettima, who was actually a Boko Haramist, that peradventure in an event that grandpa die or become incapacitated, Shettima will take over. But to God be the glory. Since after the swearing in, the grandpa has been like a 40-year-old young man. Now, their frustration began when they discover that they have made a calculated mistake. One, the grandpa is not dying soon. Secondly, most of the structure that Buhari actually put in power before handing over, they discovered that the grandpa is actually destroying them. They also discover that the emperor, the pharaoh of Kaduna, that's supposed to actually carry their plan and their agenda, they thought he could either become chief of staff or SSG. He did not get any of those positions. Rather, even the minister could not be given to him. It is out of this frustration that you see what is going on in the north today, that they are tried by all means from pillar to pole calling for alliance, that they want to unseat the president. Now, the question here is it only the north that have the ability that can unseat and decide who become the president? I know that grandpa in the villa is not doing well economically, But if it is Nigerians that actually want a different president, that is a different ballgame. But it should not be that it is the northern oligarchy that will decide who become president and who lose the presidency. And thank God for the love of Peter Obi, that when they were calling alliance, Peter Obi has stood his ground. He will be the presidential candidate, and El Rufai will not be his deputy except Ahmed Deti. Now, foolishly, they are calling Arayo Boshola, they are calling Rotimi Amechi. These are the foolish Southerners they used during Buhari, and they want to repeat it. I want all the Southerners to know nobody is comfortable with the regime, the president's regime, and the status quo of this country. But let it be that if Nigerians want change, let the change be from Nigerians and not from a few Fulani northern oligarchy.
Selective empathy, Fulani supremacy, ideology and agenda behind the land grabbing in Benue. The recent killings in Benue have once again left families shattered, villagers burned, and innocent life lost. Yet we don't hear a word from the emirs. The son of Sokoto silent, no press release, no outrage, no condolence, no Northern Forum elites gathering together. But a few weeks ago, when the Fulani headers were reportedly killed in Edo State, these same leaders were loud and clear. They condemned the violence, demanded justice, and made headlines. So here is the uncomfortable truth. No one wants to say it loud. If you are not Fulani, your life means nothing to them. This isn't just about silence. It's about an agenda, a quiet, calculated push to possess and dominate indigenous lands, particularly in the Middle Belt. The people of Benue are being massacred, and the nation's so-called moral and cultural leaders act like it's none of their business. Why? Because Benue is resisting Fulani expansion. Because Benue won't bow. And when you call this out, oh, they say it's ethnic profiling. You call it hate speech. What is hate speech? What do you know about hate speech? But I ask, is it hate speech or to demand for justice? Is it ethnic profiling or to expose systematic bias in our society? The Fulani elites have been long pushing for the belief that they are born to rule, that Nigeria belongs to them. This supremacy is the quiet virus eating at our unity. At the moment, you challenge it, they brand it, you are a bigot or a troublemaker. But I refuse to be silent. I will not watch our people in Benue turn into statistics while the so-called custodians of peace only rise when Fulani blood is spilled. This is not a country for one ethnic group. Nigeria belongs to all of us. And until we stop treating one tribe like gods and the rest like grass, there will never be peace. And there will not be peace until we have just.
I've been following him, keeping track of security reports that he's giving. And yesterday, something struck me. He said that Meiti Allah leadership is being decimated by radical Fulani headsmen. Because I asked a question, who owns these cows? We have been living with headsmen here for years. According to Loglogan in 1922, his book, The Dual Mandate, since the amalgamation. Why the sudden change in attitude that has resulted to attempts at annihilating indigenous people in the Middle Belt, in Western Nigeria, Eastern Nigeria, South Nigeria? Why? And I remember I told you about El Rufai's statement that people who, the headsmen and the bandits, are not Nigerians. That they are outsiders that were brought in to destabilize Goodluck Jonathan's government. I can also recall that when Buhari was sworn in, is it the second time? It was the Guinean president that came first to visit him. And remember the Fulanis in Nigeria from the Futajalon area of Guinea. If you don't know, Guinea shares boundary with Sierra Leone. I have crossed the border into Guinea from Sierra Leone. I went from Makeni. And Sierra Leone, as at today, has undergone a piecemeal Fulanization. They call them Fullers there. Of Sierra Leone, particularly Freetown. They have gradually bought prime properties, changed some basic approach to life, And then El-Rufai's son recently said, allegedly, and he has deleted the post, allegedly, that if people of Southern Kaduna do not do one thing, that they will be erased or wiped out. And he deleted the post. And you will see that gradually communities inhabited by natives, animists, Christians are being taken over and renamed in some parts of the north, and they are terrorizing people in southwestern Nigeria, such that the president said that, the governor of the state, Seyi Makinde, that the Fulani bandits were just about a few kilometers from where he went to commission a road in Hussein area. I've been to Hussein, into Shaki and all those areas. And so there's a lot going on in Ihamefu, Ebonyi State. Edo State young people came out to protest that they cannot be Islamized. And so the moderate Fulani elites, who are the owners of the cows before now, until some radical elements came in, do not want the perpetuation of this agenda and this violence. And because they are cautioning their people against this violence, they are being eliminated by radical Fulani jihadists. Ask me, the monies that these people collect from banditry and from kidnapping, where does it go to? There's an agenda. There's an agenda. I saw a young man online who said he was trained. There was an agenda. Some of these Fulanis have grown up in these communities, like all those Igbora, Lanlate, Gongon, Ayete, all those areas. They grew up there. And some Abakiliki, all those Kigwe area, they grew up there, southwest Nigeria. Now, to travel from Lagos to Ore, to Benin, it's a big risk because there are bandits there, kidnapping people, collecting ransom. The ransom money is for what? It's a preparation for a big agenda. This brings me to my point. What are the Christian leaders talking about this issue? Apart from the Catholic bishops who have felt the brunt of the killing of their priests, kidnapping of their priests, because the Roman Catholic Church is one of the institutions that acts as a pillar in the provision of education, provision of social services, and welfare services all over the world. They are a prime target. And so, the church leaders are not speaking out. What are they doing? You are busy arresting people who criticize your doctrines. Instead of speaking out, if calamity breaks out, these your congregations, you won't be there. If calamity breaks down, the Sophia Hegia in Turkey, that's how bishops were arguing who was this, who was that, until Ataturk captured it. All those churches in Ephesus, church in Tahitrat, they were in Turkey, all of them wiped out. Islamist jihadists want to wipe out the church from southern Nigeria and in Nigeria. If you like, continue with your mumurity. Speak out. If not, when they come for you, there will be nobody to defend you. I remain Dr. Charles Apoki.
What is happening in Nigeria right now, if it's not properly managed, it will affect all the West African countries. No West African country will be. So those of you that are thinking you run, we are now in a global village and you can't even run to anywhere. Where do you want to run to? So we must begin to bring clarity as to what is happening in Nigeria currently. What is happening in Nigeria currently at the moment is not the Islamization of Nigeria by Muslims. The fight in Nigeria currently is not between the Christians and the Muslims. The world need to hear this. The fight in Nigeria right now is not about the Islamization of Nigeria. is about Fulanization of Nigeria. It's a Fulani agenda. The same way the Europeans use religion to conquer we black people is the same way the Fulanis use religion to conquer the minority in the north. The Nupes, the Bagis, Kambari, Kamoku, what tribe? Can you even believe it? Babangida was a slave, and even when he IBB, even when he was head of state, he knew he was a slave to the Sokoto Caliphate, to the Fulanis. Look, we are dealing with two colonial masters. The colonial masters outside, which has to do with Europe and America, the West, and the colonial masters within Africa, within Nigeria, with specification on the Fulani Caliphate. The Fulanis are our internal colonizers. The agenda is real. So those of us that, especially when you can you imagine, I traveled from Benue to Port Harcourt for a friend's wedding, I think in 2021, and okay, we call Hausa as Aboki, you understand, and it's just a term. So when I can you imagine, so we in Benue State, Benue State is predominantly Christian, and there are Hausas in our state, so we used to call them Aboki. So me, I went to my friend's wedding in River State, and I was telling people there that I'm from Benue State, and they are calling me Aboki. So there's a lot of misconception about tribes. The south is the southeast, the south and the southwest of Nigeria are not properly educated about the north. They think the north is one single entity. So whenever you say you are from the north, they think you are Hausa, or they think you are a Muslim. I can bet you our culture is more similar to the western part and the southern part of Nigeria than to the north, but we are attacked under North Central. So I reject that term. There's no such thing as North Central. I'm from the middle belt. Now, in order for us not to go, in order for us to understand what is happening, we must educate ourselves properly, so that we'll not start killing ourselves in the name of religion. No, it's not a religious war. It is Fulani against other tribes in Nigeria. The Fulanis are occupying Hausa land. They are currently in Yoruba land. A woman was confessing on how her husband was molested when they were arrested. The woman said there were more than 7 Fulani bases in the southwest where they are actively recruiting people. The Fulanis are in the southeast, in Igbo land. The Fulanis are in the middle belt, what you call North Central, and they are terrorizing every part of the country. So it's not about tribes like the Hausas, they are innocent in this game. The Hausas are just like pawns, they are just like they were conquered. The Bagis, the Kambaris, these are like, so do not think, yeah, they might be some of them might be Muslims, but they are not a part of what is happening. The fight is not against Christian and Muslim. It's about the Fulani and the entire Nigeria. These people want to take over Nigeria. It's as simple as that. Look at the killings going on in Benue State. Makurdi is where the governor's house is situated. If it was in Asian Kingdom now, Benue State is already captured. We're already conquered. We have, I think, 172 battalion there in North Bank. We also have Nasme Barracks. We have an Air Force base in Makurdi. But Makurdi is being attacked. There are Fulanis in Makurdi. There are Fulanis in Guma. These are the internal colonial masters. And look, it now brings us to what I used to teach you. That look, Christianity has misled you. This is how the world has always been. There has always been war for survival. Unfortunately, the only people that don't know that we are at war are black people. We don't know. We're not taught this in schools. When you walk around the street of Abuja, you just see them walking around as if nothing is happening. I just imagine, I say, look at these people. Do they even know what is happening? Do they know that their life is at risk? Like the way you see people walking around the street as if nothing. Seriously, Do you guys really know what is coming at you? Makurdi is attacked by the Fulanis in Makurdi currently. Makurdi is the state capital of Benue State. The Fulanis are in Guma. So please, those of you that are not from the north, it is not about Islam or Christianity. It's not about the Islamization of Nigeria by the north. It's about Fulanization. It's this Fulani agenda. Let's be clear. The Fulani, I told you, they are the only group of people that don't have where they can call a home. I told you their first recorded kingdom. These people cannot even trace their history 2,000 years ago. Their first recorded kingdom was Tekru, as known by the Arabs, and they just contributed in building that civilization. They were not the major people that built the civilization. Then you hear another record you hear of Osman Danfodio jihad in Nigeria. Then you hear of how their places in. So these people, the only places that they are a majority in Africa is actually in Guinea. But they occupy big position. They are the scholars. They are the president. They are the big business people. So we have the Fulanis are our internal colonizers. Excuse me. The Fulanis are our internal colonizers. So it's not just like we have Africans. Just like we have the movement like Pan-Africanism, where we are advocating for all black people worldwide. Against who? Against Western interests, against the imperialists, against the West. It's the same way in Nigeria. Is Fulani against every tribe. So whether it doesn't matter your religion, as far as you are not Fulani, you are as far as you are not Fulani, but you are Muslim, they are not part of the game. So it's not those ones from the north. They are not the problem. The real problem is Fulani against every tribe in Nigeria. They don't have a land. They want to take over Nigeria. So it's not about Islamization again. It's about Fulanization, a grand Fulani agenda. Peace.